Hey guys, it's my geography channel again. And for this video, this is going to be about Somalia. Woohoo! Okay. Somalia is the country in East Africa on the Horn of Africa, touching the Gulf of Aden to the north and the Indian Ocean to the east. It borders three countries, Kenya to the southwest, Ethiopia to the west, and Djibouti to the northeast. The capital and largest city is Mogadishu right here. Mogadishu sits right on the Indian Ocean. It also has the beautiful beaches like Jazara Beach. Jazara is not a little city, a little town around the Indian Ocean. And if you ever go there, I recommend checking out the beaches in the Indian Ocean. It's very beautiful. Mogadishu is the capital of Somalia, and it's also a region, Mogadishu region. Somalia is a diverse country, and fun fact about Somalia, it's shaped like the number 7, like this. Look. If you draw it, outline it like this. Let me show you like this. See? It's shaped like the number 7, so that's really cool. Anyway, you might have questions on Somaliland, and you guys are probably going to say, is Somaliland part of Somalia? We're going to get to that in a second. But first, we're going to start with the regions. So the regions in Somalia there's Somaliland, and Hargeisa is actually right here. Hargeisa is the second largest city in Somalia, and it's the capital of the Somali region. And over here, this is a river. Now let's see what its name is. That's weird. It's not showing me the river name. Yeah, it is a river. It's fine. So Hargeisa is the second largest city in Somalia, and there's Berbera, which sits on the Indian Ocean, and there's also the Berbera Airport. You can go check it out. It's a small town. But now the regions. So there's Somaliland, there's Puntland, there's Awdal, there's Sanag, there's Mudug, there's Gedo, Bari, Bakul, Nangal, Sul, Togdir, Galagadu, Lower Juba. Lower Juba is like right here. Bay, Middle Juba, Hirshabelle, Southwest State of Somalia, Lower Shalabelle, Banadar, Huran, and some of these I can't pronounce, like Wool, Gulli, Galbid, Galdug, Badoa, and Siragabo. I'm not good at pronouncing. But anyway, we're going to start with some cities. Mogadishu is obviously the biggest city over there, and there's no skyscrapers, but there is tall buildings over there. Mogadishu is the biggest city in Somalia because most African countries, their capital is their biggest city. Now, but let's see. People are always talking about Somalia has the most beautifulest beaches in the world, which is true though. Their beaches are really good. So if you ever stop by Mogadishu or Jazara, you need to visit their beaches. Oh, it's clearly nighttime, so we're going to go to another beach. This is called Lido Beach. Over here is Bilan Beach. Okay, we're going to try to get the Indian Ocean. It's from Mogadishu. It doesn't have to be from Mogadishu. And that's the Aden International Airport, which is the airport in Mogadishu, the only airport. Now, I'm not sure if this will get the Indian Ocean, but let's just see. Okay, right here. This is the Indian Ocean right here. I know it looks beautiful. I know it doesn't look as beautiful, but trust me, it's just one photo. Somalia's beaches are really beautiful. And fun fact about Somalia, it has the longest coastline in Africa. It's their coastline is so long, they're stretching from Baragabo all the way to this little town called Lalakado. And Lalakado is the border with Djibouti, stretching all the way from that town over in this town, Ras Kaboni, which is the border with Kenya and Somalia. So that's how big their coastline is, and the whole entire coastline, you can see nice, beautiful palm trees with nice sand on the Indian Ocean. Now we're going to talk about territories. So some of you might be thinking, does Sorokada belong to Yemen or does it belong to Somalia? Obviously, we think that Sorokada belongs to Somalia because look at this island. It's more closer to Somalia than it is to Yemen. But for some reason, Yemen owns it. I don't know why, but for some reason, Yemen owns this island. Yemen also owns this island too. Even though it's more closer to Somalia than it is to Yemen, Yemen owns it. But anyway, now we're gonna talk about another territory. This is the Somali region in Ethiopia, and it's a region in Ethiopia, so Somalia doesn't own it. They in Ethiopia, this region is called the Somali region, but Ethiopia and Somalia has been going with war, and Ethiopia named this region Somali region, but Somalia thinks that this is part of their country, but Ethiopia says this is part of our land, but Somalia thinks the Somali region is part of their land, so sometimes they might just want to fight Ethiopia and grab it onto there. Somalia and Ethiopia had tough times when the new Somalia president gave Ethiopia a little cold shoulder. But yeah, the Somali region is part of Ethiopia. You can tell it's part of Ethiopia because you can see the little Amharic words. And in Somalia, you don't find any Amharic. The languages you hear in Somalia are Somali, Arabic, and Italian. And English too. Because Somaliland was colonized by British, so UK, but the rest of Somalia was colonized by Italy, so that's why you might hear Italy. Same for Eritrea. Eritrea was colonized by Italy, but you don't hear much Italian over there. But yeah. But the official languages of Somalia are Somali and Arabic. But some languages you can hear is Italy and English too. Lots of Africans learn English when they go to schools. But anyway, now we're going to talk about more territories. There is this little that's part of Somalia too. Okay, now we're going to talk about like war and stuff. And I'm gonna answer your question about Somaliland. Now, you guys are probably wondering, is Somaliland part of Somalia or not? You all might be thinking, yes, Somaliland is a country because I can't blame you guys. You guys might think Somalia is a country because it has its own president, its own passport, its own currency, and it also has its own flag. Which is not a big deal, but it has its own flag, and it's recognized by several other countries too. But Somaliland is not a country. Why? Because even though other countries recognize it, you guys might be thinking if other countries recognize a place, then that becomes a country. But no, Somaliland is not a country because it's not part of the East African Union. Somaliland is not, and the United Nations does not recognize Somaliland as a country. Same for Cyprus. For some reason, the UN recognizes Northern Cyprus part of Turkey, but the UN does not recognize Somaliland as a country. It's just a little different, but it's still a state in Somalia. And Somaliland, for some reason, Somaliland is part of Somalia, but in 1991, Somaliland gained independence from Somalia in 1991 after they've been fighting a lot. So Somaliland became off of Somalia, but without Somalia's help, Somaliland is considered a country, but it's really not. But Somalia doesn't really care because they don't give a crap. But Somaliland is part of Somalia. It's a region. Somaliland is a region like any other region too. Now we're going to talk about Ethiopia. In Somali region, in Ethiopia, they call Somali region just Somali region, but in Somalia, they call it their own region. they don't name it, but in Somalia, they take Somali region as their as a country. I mean, as their territory. But Ethiopia doesn't, because Somalia and Ethiopia has been fighting, obviously. And then after war things settle down, Somalia still wants to take Somali region from Ethiopia. And over here, now we're going to talk about some cities. The first biggest city in Somalia is Mogadishu. It sits on the Indian Ocean, the first biggest city. And then the second biggest city is in Somalia, and it's Hargeisa. Hargeisa is actually the capital of Somaliland too. Hargeisa it's landlocked in like the little center right here. And over here is Rahato, that's Eritrea, sorry. Here is Lakado. Lakado is really not that big. It looks like a village, but it's not. It's a small town bordering Djibouti, and it also borders the Gulf of Aden too. And then there's Boroma, which I think it's the third biggest city, or it's... And Mandera is in Kenya, but Mandera is actually a town. Believe it or not, I know it looks like a city, but it's a town. Mandera is a city, let's read it. Mandera town in Kenya. Mandera is the capital of Mandera County in the former northeastern province of Kenya. It's situated around near the borders with Somalia and Ethiopia. It's in Kenya, but it's very close to Somalia than it is to Ethiopia. Now we'll talk about the rivers. Here, this is called the Dawa River. The Dawa River is a river separating Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. So the river goes into Ethiopia and Somalia. Somalia is a desert country. Well, I mean, not like a desert, like Egypt, not like Egyptian, not like the desert in Egypt, because the desert in Egypt is like yellow, but like bushy deserts basically. And Somalia, there's not a lot of rivers in the country, except the Juba River and the Dawa River, but they don't really use the Dawa River. But it's still easy for Somalia to get water because they have the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden, so if they want goods, they can get boats by it. But for Ethiopia, they want the Red Sea because they want to take it from Eritrea. Not just that, because Ethiopia is landlocked, so they need the import. It's easy for Ethiopia to get goods, but they need Eritrea's Red Sea so they can get goods from the Red Sea. On boats. And Ethiopia is landlocked by Sudan, Eritrea, Somalia, Djibouti, and Kenya. Ethiopia wants the Red Sea from Eritrea because Eritrea is the closest country to Ethiopia to the Red Sea. Sudan is way too far because they have to cross the Nubian desert too. And what's the point of going all the way to the Red Sea just to go to the border of Eritrea? Djibouti is also far too, and Djibouti won't let Ethiopia use the Red Sea. But anyway, yeah, that's it for Somalia. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and for the next video, this is going to be about Kenya. Okay, bye.